Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the man-dog relationship theme in A Call of the Wild. And as you can see here, there is a lot of bonds between dog and man in the book. All right, so that's indicative of that photograph. In this harsh setting that you see pictured in here, this is Alaska, this is where the Klondike is, and this is what the gold rush looked like during the 1800s. And you can see here as well, the dogs kind of moving around, doing their thing. This is really what this environment looked like for a lot of the dogs and for a lot of the drivers who were at this time in history. So when there's a sled dog and a pilot, a man, in this case it's Francois, who we'll talk about later, working together, they really work and survive together. All right, so Buck, who would be eventually at the head of the pack here, would have been a huge asset to Francois and a lot of the working dogs that were at this time, traveling all over the Klondike in order to find gold. They take care of the animals with food and protection, and the animals get them from place to place. So the author of this book, Jack London, portrays or demonstrates the bonds between these two people, man and dog, by showing how the owners really shape the characters of the dog. And this happens throughout the book. Right? You see, as Buck has different owners, he learns different things, starting with the judge, then to Francois and Perot, and eventually to John Thornton. So that demonstrates the man-dog relationship really well. Our next slide is a look at where Buck first comes from, and his first introduction is at the Santa Clara Valley, which looked like this in the past, right? Very nice California town, very sunny, great weather. And we have his first owner here, Judge Miller. He really takes good care of Buck, and he doesn't really ask too much of Buck other than to kind of hang around the house and entertain the kids. All right, so we have Buck's estate, the judge's estate right here, and we see how nice of a place it is, and kind of Buck living in this like lap of luxury. He takes care of the grandchildren, takes them on little hunting trips. But that changes really quickly when Manuel takes Buck and eventually sells him to another owner, and that owner takes him to a much harsher climate. All right, but even here we see this relationship between Buck and his owner, the judge, is pretty strong, right? Here we have Buck's second kind of home with this guy, Francois, who's in the movie, played by this actor right here, and we see him and Buck kind of getting together. And in this case, Buck kind of becomes this working dog where he has a job now. He's not just like hanging around the judge's estate, entertaining the grandchildren. He actually has to fight for a place on the traces to eventually get to the lead dog. And you see Perot kind of bestowing that honor on him right there. So this is a lot different than where he was at Judge Miller's. And we see in this case the man-dog relationship is Buck really learns from Perot how to run a sled dog team, how to get their respect, how to lead, and how to become a fierce survivor in this really harsh climate. And next, we have the ideal owner. All right, so this is Buck's ideal owner. This is John Thornton. And John Thornton takes Buck into a new place. So he starts out kind of in the lap of luxury at Judge Miller's. Then he becomes this fierce working dog where he starts to hear his wild call within him. And now he ends up with John Thornton, who is really like a companion to him. And John Thornton really kind of teaches him love and respect and really transforms Buck, really makes him into a really great companion animal. And that man-dog relationship is changed once again. So through each of these owners, that relationship has resulted in a big change by Buck from person to person, from Judge Miller to Francois and Perot, and then to finally John Thornton when he becomes really man's best friend and a partner on this journey that John Thornton's on. Okay, lastly, what we see is this change, right? So he changes really thoroughly under these human owners, and it highlights kind of the differences that of man-dog relationships, right? Some can be just, kind of nice little animals to have around for not really any purpose, like Judge Miller. Sometimes it can be a work relationship where a dog would learn a lot of the leadership capabilities that they have, and some can be just a really great companion animal. All right, the man-dog relationship really starts from this evolutionary stage, though, where wolves would hunt alongside of a caveman, like a primitive human, right? And they would hunt with these wild wolves. There's also the relationship where wolves are being mastered and dogs are being mastered by other people. Then we get the domestication, where they become, pets. And Buck eventually becomes domesticated, but always within Buck, despite these relationships you have, there's always this struggle to recapture his inner instincts, which is this instinct to be a wild wolf. All right, so the struggle for dominance really is the most important part of the man-dog relationship. Right, the dog is trying to kind of control things, and the human's trying to control him. We can also have ideal friendships through mutual love and respect and justness. But it's evolved into like very two-way partnerships between man and dog. Man and beast can be codependent. That means they depend on each other. And they can also be equals who kind of respect each other for who they are. Right? The codependence is kind of like the Francois and Perot relationship. And the mutual equals is kind of the more John Thornton relationship. But always within us, this man-dog relationship, a dog is kind of always grappling with half of its character, domestication and wildness on both sides. And that's that theme in this book, the man-dog relationship, which is a pretty prevalent theme. All right, thanks for listening, guys.